Well, our next guest is joining a group of House Republicans demanding answers after an in-depth Politico report published back in May of 2021 alleged the Biden administration diverted $2 billion in funding for COVID tests to provide shelter for illegal immigrants. Joining us now to discuss is Republican Congressman from Virginia, Ben Cline. Congressman Cline, there have been recent examples of Americans in certain parts of the country waiting in long lines or struggling to find a COVID test. Could this have been prevented if the Biden administration prioritized funding for tests as it was initially intended?
Well, absolutely, Emma. This administration has handled the COVID testing scandal in a terrible way, putting lives at risk and making Americans wonder who's at the till here, who's in charge of this administration. It's certainly not Joe Biden. His administration has been feckless and wandering when it comes to using this test money, which was allocated by Congress. And instead, he's allowed radicals in his administration to redirect this money to provide support and housing for illegal immigrants coming across the border. It's not something that Americans want to see, and I think that there's a majority in Congress right now ready to take action to make sure that taxpayers' money is spent wisely.
And I know you and fellow Republicans in the House sent a letter to the administration just asking for more clarity on this allocation of funds here. What's the main goal and objective of this letter? What would you like to hear from the president?
Well, the president obviously is trying to make an end run around Congress when it comes to this money. He wants to send more money to the border to support illegal immigrants, to encourage them to continue to come across this border. This border crisis is of his making. He has the power to stop it. He's refusing. Instead, he's trying to exacerbate it by promising things like more money for housing, temporary housing for illegals, making sure they're going to have this housing available when they get here. Instead, we need to repeal catch and release. We need to follow the law and re-implement remaining in Mexico policy that President Trump started that was so successful in bringing down those numbers and really take control over this border. That's what this letter is about. We're going to continue to fight, and we're going to continue to press this administration on this funding.
Well, the number of illegal immigrants crossing into our southern border does continue to increase. There are plenty of questions about the White House's own handling of our southern border and what's being done to get those numbers down and really ensure the safety of Americans. Perhaps that could be a question that comes up today. The president is scheduled to host a recent formal press conference. It's been months since he held the last one. What are your expectations for today and for even the reporters in the room?
Well, I think this president is trying to save his sinking poll numbers by getting out and talking about the amount of money that the Democrats in Congress have spent, whether it's on his big government programs, the attempt at Build Back Better as a follow-on to this COVID spending bill that has been pushed through. He wants to talk about the infrastructure bill, but instead he's likely to get a lot of questions about why his policies are not passing in Congress, why his radical agenda is being rejected by a bipartisan majority in Congress and by the American people, why his poll numbers are so low, and why his administration is just not in a position to make any progress at all right now. He needs to make a change, and he obviously has not recognized that.
That press briefing, again, scheduled for 4 p.m. Eastern. We'll be watching it closely. Let's turn now to your Commonwealth that you represent. Virginia here, back in the headlines. Of course, Glenn Youngkin, now sworn in as governor, he had several executive actions taken the first day in office. One of them was essentially banning a mask mandate, so students could have the choice whether or not they wanted to wear a face mask in the classroom here. And that is being met with criticism and even pushback from Virginia school divisions who are saying, we don't like this mandate, we don't want to follow it. How do you see this all playing out?
Well, on Election Day, Virginia parents spoke up. They are tired of this liberal agenda coming from Washington. They were tired of the liberal agenda coming from Richmond, and they rejected it and put Glenn Youngkin and Winsome Sears and Jason Miyares in our top 3 offices. And so Glenn Youngkin took action immediately to promote an agenda that is going to respond to that concern from parents and say that parents have control in the schools when it comes to what their kids are being taught, when it comes to whether their kids are being masked in schools. They're going to return power to the parents and to the students and let them decide for themselves how they want to handle masks in schools.
Yeah, Virginia under new leadership here, and that executive action set to go into effect next week. We'll wait and see how different schools react. Congressman Ben Cline, thanks so much, sir, for joining us today.
Thanks, Emma.